1937, long before the term RV lifestyle entered the American vocabulary, and decades before motorhomes became a standardized industry product, one man quietly built what many historians now recognize as the first truly modern private recreational vehicle. It was not produced by a major manufacturer. It was not backed by Detroit. It did not emerge from a corporate design studio. Instead, it came from the imagination of Hollywood cinematographer and inventor J. Roy Hunt. The machine he created became known as the 1937 Hunt Housecar, and even today, nearly 90 years later, it feels astonishingly ahead of its time. To understand the significance of the Hunt Housecar, it is important to remember the context of 1937 America. The country was still recovering from the Great Depression. Automobiles were becoming more refined, but travel infrastructure was nowhere near what it would become after World War II. Road trips were adventurous undertakings. Hotels were inconsistent. Camping meant tents and minimal comfort. There was no such thing as a self-contained motorhome with plumbing, electricity, and integrated living systems. At least, not until Hunt decided to build one. J. Roy Hunt worked in the film industry in Southern California, where mobility and adaptability were essential. Film crews often traveled to remote locations. Comfort and self-sufficiency were valuable. Hunt initially experimented by modifying a Willys sedan delivery, installing a bed, a folding desk, electrical equipment, and even a short-range radio. But that early attempt was only a stepping stone. In 1937, Hunt took a far more ambitious step. He purchased a 1937 Ford pickup chassis and commissioned a custom body to be built around it. What emerged was not a camper conversion. It was a fully integrated mobile dwelling. The exterior alone set the Housecar apart. Instead of a boxy wooden structure bolted onto a truck frame, Hunt's vehicle featured a smooth, aerodynamic steel body constructed from 16-gauge steel panels. The shape resembled an aircraft fuselage more than a traditional automobile. The nose was rounded and clean, the windshield made up of multiple angled glass panels, and the sides flowed smoothly toward the rear. The design reflected the influence of the Streamline Moderne movement that was beginning to reshape American industrial design. In 1937, most trucks were upright and blunt. The Hunt Housecar looked like something engineered rather than assembled. Beneath that elegant bodywork was the mechanical foundation of a Ford truck. The vehicle retained the Ford flathead 5.8 engine, typical of the era. Depending on configuration, these engines produced roughly 85 horsepower in stock form. Paired with a 3-speed manual transmission, this powertrain was reliable and widely understood by mechanics across the country. That reliability was crucial. Hunt was not building a fragile prototype. He intended the Housecar to travel real distances on real American roads. The exact curb weight of the 1937 Housecar is not consistently documented, but later versions built by Hunt weighed in the neighborhood of 5,000 pounds. Considering the steel construction and fully equipped interior, this figure is entirely plausible for the original vehicle as well. Even at that weight, the Flathead V8 provided adequate propulsion for highway travel in the late 1930s, when cruising speeds were typically between 45 and 55 miles per hour. This was not a high-speed machine. It was a self-contained traveling home. What truly separated the Hunt Housecar from anything else on American roads in 1937 was the interior. Hunt approached the layout as a designer of livable space rather than a modifier of cargo volume. Immediately upon entering, one encountered a compact but fully functional kitchen. It included a stove, an ice box for food storage, built-in cabinetry, and thoughtfully arranged storage compartments. Electrical systems were installed to power lighting and small appliances. For its time, this level of integration was extraordinary. But the most revolutionary feature, the detail that secured the Housecar's place in history, was the bathroom. Hunt designed a compact but functional restroom that included a dry toilet system that could fold away into the wall. When stowed, the space converted into a shower compartment. This was not a bucket and curtain improvisation. It was a genuine engineered solution. As far as historical documentation indicates, this was the first private motorhome in the world to include a functional shower. In 1937, that was groundbreaking. The interior materials reinforced the sense that this was a home rather than a cargo vehicle. Birch and oak paneling lined the walls, creating warmth and visual richness. The cabinetry was built with care. The seating areas converted into sleeping quarters. A dinette provided space for meals and work. The Housecar was not large by modern standards, but every cubic inch was carefully planned. Hunt understood that space efficiency was not about size, it was about intelligent arrangement. Driving the Housecar required adaptation. In order to maximize interior space, Hunt positioned the driver's seat further forward than in a standard truck. However, the gear shift remained in its conventional position. This created an unusual driving posture, requiring the driver to reach back to shift gears. Period descriptions suggest that it took practice to operate smoothly, yet the compromise illustrates Hunt's priorities. Comfort and livability took precedence over conventional ergonomics. After the success of his initial design, Hunt continued refining the concept. In 1940, he produced an updated Housecar reportedly powered by a 1939 Mercury Flathead Feof 8, generating approximately 95 horsepower. That version weighed around 5,000 pounds and further improved the layout. In 1941, Hunt experimented with an even more radical approach, a steam-powered Housecar featuring a two-cylinder steam engine mounted at the rear. Although that version did not survive, it demonstrates Hunt's willingness to explore unconventional engineering solutions. Over the course of roughly a decade, Hunt is believed to have built around 50 Housecars. These were not mass-produced in a factory assembly line. They were low-volume, semi-custom creations. Each reflected careful craftsmanship and personal involvement. However, the timing limited broader adoption. The United States entered World War II, and manufacturing priorities shifted dramatically. Steel, fuel, and labor were redirected toward the war effort. The recreational vehicle industry would not truly expand until the post-war economic boom of the 1950s and 1960s. Today, one of the original Hunt Housecars is preserved at the RV/MH Hall of Fame in Elkhart, Indiana. Restored from years of neglect, it stands as a tangible reminder of how far ahead its creator was thinking. When viewed alongside modern Class B motorhomes, the parallels are striking. Integrated kitchen, dedicated bathroom, convertible sleeping space, electrical systems, self-contained functionality. The core blueprint of today's motorhome existed in Hunt's design nearly a century ago. What makes the 1937 Hunt Housecar particularly compelling is that it was not a publicity stunt. It was not a concept vehicle displayed under bright lights and then forgotten. It was used, it traveled, it embodied a philosophy of independence and mobility. Hunt was effectively living decades ahead of the mainstream RV movement. From a historical perspective, the Housecar occupies a fascinating intersection between automotive innovation and domestic architecture. It demonstrates that the desire for self-contained travel did not begin in the 1960s counterculture era. It was already present in the 1930s, waiting for the right combination of engineering skill and personal vision. Technically, the Housecar was not revolutionary in terms of engine output or performance metrics. Its flathead V8 and 3-speed transmission were conventional. Its cruising speeds were modest. But innovation does not always require radical horsepower. Sometimes innovation is about integration, about bringing together systems in a way that had not been done before. The Hunt Housecar represents one of the earliest serious attempts to merge transportation and habitation into a seamless unit. It anticipated modern RV design by decades. It proved that comfort, mobility, and mechanical reliability could coexist in a single vehicle. Nearly 90 years later, it remains not only a historical artifact, but a compelling demonstration of forward thinking. You could, in many respects, step inside that 1937 Housecar today and recognize the blueprint of contemporary motorhome living. That is perhaps the greatest testament to Hunt's vision. If you enjoy deep historical dives into rare, unconventional, and technologically significant vehicles like the 1937 Hunt Housecar, make sure to subscribe. There are many more forgotten machines waiting to be rediscovered, and some of them changed the future long before anyone realized it.